So you should have another reaction video. Today we're going to be reacting to 10 things that It 2017 did differently. Let's do this.
They all float down here, and when you're down here with us, you'll float too. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things that It 2017 did differently. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the differences not just between the 2017 film adaptation of the Stephen King story and the 1990 miniseries, but also the changes from the book. Many plot points regarding the movie, miniseries, and book are ahead, so a major spoiler alert is now in effect. Number 10, the era in which the story takes place.
If I were you guys, I wouldn't pay to see a monster movie. I'd just stay home and look in the mirror.
In the book, the losers first encounter the intergalactic terror known informally as Pennywise the Clown in the summer of 1958. And 27 years later, they return to finish it off. The miniseries was close, but chose 1960 for the original encounter, and 30, not 27 years later for the second fight. The 2017 adaptation moved the story to the late 80s, updating the time period for a more modern audience, and hitting all those nostalgic notes.
It's almost as though Stand By Me was a trial run for It.
While that would place the second fight in the upcoming Part 2 in 2016, many moviegoers noted that the film's 2017 release date saw it returning to screens 27 years after the first adaptation. Number 9, Patrick Hockstetter. Patrick Hockstetter, one of the more sinister members of Henry Bowers' gang, is a character from the original book that was left out of the 1990 adaptation. His death comes before any of the other bullies meet their fates. While his demise in the 2017 film is chilling, in the novel, Patrick's death is downright gruesome. After making sexual advances on Henry in a junkyard, Bowers threatens to tell the police about Patrick's junkyard fridge, where the troubled youth keeps dead animals. After Bowers leaves, Patrick goes to dispose of the carcasses, but upon opening the fridge is attacked by it, manifested as blood-sucking and flying leeches. It sucks him dry and drags his body to the sewers. Number 8, The Blood Oath.
Swear to me that if it isn't dead, I'll come back.
In the book, having successfully vanquished it, more so they hope, the losers make a solemn promise to return to Derry should Pennywise ever rise again. While the spirit of this was maintained in the 1990 adaptation, the severity of the promise was minimized, as the kids simply touch hands and link arms.
Swear.
As the AIDS crisis was still in full swing in 1990, the producers probably didn't want to show kids mixing blood so casually. In 2017, though, just like in the book, they use a blood pact to illustrate the seriousness of their promise, slitting their hands with a broken bottle, as they swear to one another to come back if the job ever needs finishing. Number 7, Mike's parents.
My dad was stationed in Derry during World War II. And he started collecting these old photos that go way back to the olden days.
Most of the parents, and adults in general, are absent in the 2017 adaptation because Pennywise's influence over the town compels the grown-up townsfolk to look the other way. But no parents are quite so absent as Mike Hanlon's. They're deceased, which is quite a change from the novel and the 1990 miniseries.
Giving me and my daddy grief for a long, long time.
In the book, Mike and his parents are constantly the target of racist comments and aggression, and his father and Henry Bowers' father have a long, dark history. However, in the 2017 adaptation, both Mike's mother and father are dead, and he's being raised by his grandpa.
I think this friendship with the Losers Club really means a lot to him.
Number 6, Henry Bowers.
You're dead, fat boy.
In the 2017 film, like in the book, Henry is not just a little punk, but a child of abuse, learning torment and prejudice at his father's knee. His shattered mental state even leads him to kill his own father before pursuing the losers. However, his 2017 screen exit is where things really deviate from the book and the miniseries. Instead of following the losers to the sewers, flanked by buddies Belch Huggins and Victor Criss, Henry goes after the losers alone, and after a brief fight with Mike, tumbles down the well. If he survived the fall, he probably still has an important part to play in Derry. Number 5. The Neibolt Street House. While it's an important location in the book, the Neibolt Street House never made an appearance in the 1990 miniseries. However, the haunted house was given its proper due by director Andy Muschietti and crew. More than just a creepy building, the Neibolt House is its above-ground lair, and in some ways is an extension of it itself. Kind of how the town of Derry also is. Under Pennywise's influence, the house can play tricks on the minds of anyone foolish or brave enough to go inside. Since it's the site of their first battle, Neibolt is where the losers begin to understand the power of their friendship. Number 4. Beverly Marsh. Beverly's fears about adulthood are wrapped up in her own sexuality. In the 1990s miniseries, she was just one of the losers, a working-class girl with an abusive father.
Daddy, please!
Not even 12 and already running with some boy!
In the 2017 version, it's clear that her father is a pervert who worries about her, and at school, she has the unfair reputation as a slut. Womanhood and sex are her greatest fears, and the 2017 film does not shy away from those themes. The book's infamous and polarizing sex scene, where she turns her fear into an act of love for her friends in an attempt to grow up, however, did not make it into the latest adaptation. Number 3. Georgie's disappearance versus his death.
Hi, Georgie.
In both the book and the miniseries, it is very clear that little Georgie Denbrough is dead. In the book, he meets Bob Gray, also known as Pennywise, also known as It, in the storm drain while chasing his paper boat. While the iconic setup is the same in all three, what varies is the final execution. Pardon the double entendre. In all three, Georgie's arm is ripped off. In the book and the miniseries, the boy bleeds out, off camera in the miniseries, and is confirmed dead. In the 2017 film, his arm is torn off, but he's then dragged into the sewer. This plants false hope in Big Bill and the audience that maybe the missing kids can be saved. Number 2. More cursing and violence.
It's basically piss and shit, so I'm just telling you.
In the opening scene with Georgie and Pennywise, the 2017 adaptation quickly establishes one thing. It earned that R rating. Made for TV, the 1990 version was cleaned up enough to be enjoyed at home by families. And while it is still enjoyable, the miniseries could never quite achieve the terror of the book. However, Muschietti's R-rated film salted things back up, with lots of F-bombs and crude humor from the kids, and plenty of graphic violence and horror. As a result, the 2017 version is more terrifying and a truer adaptation of the book overall. And hey, old Steve is the king of horror for a reason. Number 1. Flashbacks versus linear storytelling.
Mike? Yeah, buddy. Listen. It's come back.
In both the book and the miniseries, the story is set during the losers' adult phase, with the events of their terrifying childhood told in flashbacks. As a result, the rising action of each timeline, young and grown, is experienced in tandem. In the book, this is even more effective, since as adults, the losers have forgotten everything that happened, and must help each other piece things together, adding a dark mystery component. However, in the 2017 film, the timeline is linear, featuring only the adolescent losers, with their adult lives to be explored in the sequel. Both forms are effective, although individuals will surely have their preferences.
George is dead, and it's not my fault.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch
That's pretty good, guys. Let me like and subscribe. See you this week. Peace.
Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.
Peace out.